Well, good evening. It's been one or two more coming on in here, so. I think there's 130 slides. Not bad. No, thank you, though. Oh. Well, let's open with prayer. One of the good things I enjoyed about the group was when we said it was time to pray, we could either call on someone without telling them beforehand, usually, and they would pray without any problems. And then when we had asked for a volunteer, there would be someone who would volunteer. So I'm going to ask someone who is on the trip to volunteer to open us in prayer.
Dear God, thank you for letting everyone of us be here tonight, Lord. Thank you for letting us all be on the street to show us the love and way that you led us together. Thank you for everyone that was praying for us, Lord, and thank you for the church community we have, Lord.
Amen. So, Trace, that's the third time you've let a girl beat you. Oh, well, this is the picture of the group with all 15 members. The only one you didn't see this morning was Noah, and there's a few pictures we'll get closer. And Colby, yeah, and Colby. And I haven't talked to him. I'm assuming he probably had to work, but anyway. And this is at Stryker Church, their new auditorium. And no, their walls are not painted pink, but they have lights in the background. Pretty much can change it to whatever. I don't know. This was on Wednesday, and we'll talk more about that when we get down to the Stryker. This is what we started out, dark 30. We got off about 5:30. We said we're going to leave at 5. We got off at 5:30. And this was Atlanta. This is what we saw in Atlanta. This is what we saw in Chattanooga. And this is what we saw in Knoxville. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure which one was the worst. All of them cost us about an hour. So come on in. Come on in.
Maybe might want to sit up close so you can see the pictures better. Might want to sit up close so you can see the pictures and hear about them. We're just watching the pictures. Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to sit close so you could hear and see.
So, Miss Sarah, we just got to Atlanta, and this is what Atlanta looks like. I don't know if you've ever been to Atlanta, but yeah, this is Atlanta. This is all you get to see in Atlanta. So go ahead. Sorry. And this is us getting there. If you've been to Logan, this is a familiar sight. I think everybody's pictures I've ever looked at had this scene in it. This is looking over most of Logan. Okay. So beautiful. It's always beautiful. So this is just another picture of someone that gave. I tried to get everybody a picture in. This actually is a project I've had on my list to do for about 4 years, and that's to fix this sign. It was brand new. I think the first year we went, and it's weather torn. But this is the entrance into. Coming up the hill. And all right, so this is Saturday morning, and they have had breakfast and are fixing to go out. We've also had each morning we had a Bible study. The guys, I led one, and then the girls was led by Miss Dana, and they have gotten ready to go out, and so they are fixing to go out. And this is some of the houses that they visited. I was very encouraged when they came back. They were excited to say, you know, I was scared, but I went and did it, and it wasn't bad. It didn't get shot, didn't get bit. Actually, somebody did get bit, didn't they? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Chihuahua dog, and yeah, the small. Yeah. But you actually had a mark on your knee, right? Yeah. They didn't tell me about that till Thursday. So They also were glad that the houses wasn't so far apart like at Gilbert Creek. They were right side by side, and so I think is this Ben? Alexis, I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, okay. And Thomas and Colby and Aaron and who? No, the grandson of your preacher, your pastor. So, all right, and then Jason. So they're figuring out: do we knock? Do we hit the doorbell? You were up there. There were again. Yeah, right. All right. This is Colby here, I think. Is that right? Okay. I got a smaller picture than y'all, and y'all are closer, so I'm further away. So. But if you notice, there's a variety of kinds of houses in the same neighborhood. And they walked a little bit. Here's Miss Dana. She and Jason were the adults on this part. They covered 3 areas, one area on Saturday, and then another area on Sunday afternoon, then a third area on Monday afternoon. You ran into a nun?
We ran into a lot of kids.
Oh, okay.
The nun showed up.
None showed up, right. Probably because you didn't give them any candy, probably. So, all right. And notice here the ramp in West Virginia, it's 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 is on disability. So you see a lot of these kinds of things. So. And most places have stairs or steps because most places are not flat. Okay. Usually they'll send their kids so they don't have to watch them. After that afternoon, after they came back and got freshened up a little bit, and 5 o'clock we would have our on Saturday we had our first worship service where Jason preached. We'd sing a few songs, and they got into that, and then Jason would preach. And so we did this on Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night. I just noticed that every time we started singing, Trace and Thomas would walk up to Kobe and put their arm around him. Kobe would go, "Who are you?" So, and then everybody else started following in. This is a monitor that we put in. I think second year we were there, we saw the need. They didn't have a piano player, and they had hymn books, and those were rough song services. So, yeah. This is Jason preaching, and he was in his element. Yeah. He did a series out of James, and 4 nights he mentioned. Any of y'all can remember any of the 4? humble,
prayer,
humble, prayer, hospitality, faith, humble,
prayer,
hospitality, prayer. Yes. Yeah, that was it. Okay. And they did a good job taking notes also. So this is Jason asking for a volunteer. And I was really expecting, this is Noah, and I was really expecting Noah to be kind of shy because he's kind of quiet because both his father and mother are quiet. And but he jumped right up before anybody could say anything. And so he went, I sent a picture of this to his mom. I said, yeah, he volunteered. And she said, did he know what he was volunteering for? I said, no. So it was a real tough job. He had to sit and show his faith in the chair without picking it up and measuring it and all those things. So a demonstration there about faith. And then later we did a close with a time of prayer. And this is where all 15 went around to the other 14 at some point. And on the first night, it was, what can I pray for you for? And the one night we did, what are you worried about? And then one night we did, what do you need help with? What do you need help with? And they took this seriously and did a good job. So, yeah. Next. All right. And then after that, we had to do our annual trip to Giovanni's. And this table in the center was sat out. We came in, they said, we can't seat you. And it was the lady that's the manager for several years now. I said, you said, I know you can do better. I know you can find a place. So came back, and the six tables around that table were open. So we went back there. We outnumbered the ones that were at the table, and finally they left. And so this is, for those who don't know, it's Dan and Deb, and me and Teresa. And this is Trace and Colby and Dana. And
It looks like it was rather cold where Trace is sitting.
yeah.
He must have been under an air vent.
Yep, I'm sure. It's amazing how cold it was with some of the kids were there. Guess that's, yeah. And Miss Kendall, she started off the week very well. She left shy, okay, and I couldn't even get her to smile when I would say something. But finally, she started smiling, and she actually came up on Thursday and asked me what could she pray for. I was like, okay, good, we're getting somewhere. So, all right, there's the garlic knots that are so famous. Yeah. So.
They asked where they went, and they were like gone within the first 2 seconds of the.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then Pastor Phil was over after and goes, where's the garlic knots? And we're like, we didn't get any. Yeah, it was like.
But I had pictures with them. There's Alexis, Noah, and the grandson. The grandson. So that's a small portion of lasagna. No, that's baked spaghetti. I'm sorry, baked spaghetti is what I had. So portions are good. Yeah. All I can figure out, there's 3 Italian places in Logan. We've only been to one, but all I can figure is there's a lot of Italian immigrants that came to West Virginia and settled. That's all, but good portions. And then we did have dessert after that. So, yeah. So everybody, wait now. Yeah, this is Monday morning. Actually, this is Monday morning, and this is what the grandson looks like before he gets awake. And this is what he looks like after he gets awake. Okay. So, Alexis is a pretty good morning person. So this is the fellowship hall, and that green you see over against the wall, that's the green that we put in the I could tell this was a Baptist group because after the second day, everybody had their table and their chair that they sat in. By who? Yeah. Miss Dana said that the coffee was too weak. She drank coffee that was stronger than that, and so she had put more coffee in her granulars in her coffee. Yeah. So it's been interesting to find out that Joshua, at his time at college, he's become a coffee drinker. Pretty addicted coffee drinker. Here you see breakfast. Actually, I think this was actually Tuesday morning, maybe, because we had French toast, and the next day each day she added something to it. We had leftover whatever. So we started out with biscuit and sausage gravy and eggs, and then the next day was added, and bacon and sausage, and then the toast, the French toast was added, and then the pancakes were added. So always a good breakfast, better than most hotels you go to. So, and then this must have been Monday morning because we finished decorating Saturday afternoon and Monday morning. So it was ready to go. Some more of the decorations. Okay, yeah. So when we found that there was no kids coming, we looked for different things, and this is what Miss Deb, she has the closet with food. She was wanting to get the small cans out, and she donated those to the Amazing Grace, which was at Stryker, and we took 4 big tubs full of out and toted them up there. And then the big cans got organized, and Noah was the right size to be on that second shelf there. So, yeah, some more pictures. I want you to notice Trace is standing in the same spot as he was in the previous picture. And this is Thomas. And, yeah, right. And this is the food they get from the food bank in Charleston, and then they feed the homeless on Thursday evening. Different churches in the city do 4 days a week, I believe, still, and and this is Noah vacuuming, and actually this was the day Thursday when we were leaving. We were cleaning up, and but I sent this to his mom, and he says, "Don't let him know I have this. He'll know that I know that he can vacuum." So yes, those are the doors that not this time 2 years ago or year one, yeah. You and Raymond, was it James? That's right. Cut through that wall that was a foot thick, and concrete on both sides and mesh wire. It took all 4 days to get those doors in. So, but it's so nice, Yeah. So, oops, I think we skipped one maybe. This is shredding paper. Yeah. You counted them.
I did not count.
Okay.
We had 4 to 5 bags
They knew it was hot when it stopped. They did not have to touch it to find out that it was hot. So I'm very proud of them. So, yeah. And this is, yeah. And he did so well. It wasn't just that Miss Debbie was putting up with him. She actually would ask for him because she knows he would work. And so, yeah, that was, yeah. Yeah. We might have a picture of it. Yeah. This is, what meal is this, breakfast or?
Actually, that was so long.
Oh, yeah, that's where I put it. Deb came out with a new meal. You take a pack of tacos, you go put taco meat in and some other stuff, and you shake it up. And then you eat it. And it was pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. There's so much that I was surprised when we get leftovers on Thursday. Several people ate it again. So, yeah. Oh, it's an easy fix. This is my 3 grandsons with the grandson in the middle with the grandson, 2 of my grandsons with the grandson. And this is Deb's office, and they came in to bug Risa about, you having Pepsis? So, no. So this is Wednesday. We got up at 6:30 and left at 7. Wait a minute. No, we got there at 7. So we got up at 6 and left at 6:30 to get there at 7. And this is the building that Stryker was in 6 years ago when we took a group up there and had a vacation Bible school. And you can see the new church right down the road, just a couple hundred yards on the opposite side of the road. And so they said, let's do something with this. The Amazing Grace Food Pantry is one of like 28 pantries in Logan County. And they get food from the food bank in Charleston, but the local Kroger store sells them groceries at cost plus 9 cents. So, and so that's Brother John, and I'll show you a picture of Brother John here in a moment, said that was often cheaper than the food bank, getting it from the food bank, which was a lot of times was USDA, where you pay for it by the pound pretty much. And but this is the entranceway. See how close the road is there? And it angles even closer as you get to the back of that building. You almost don't want to stick your head out because it was so close. And that's just how precious flat land is. So this is what we drove up, and the guy in the shorts and the light blue shirt standing out there on almost the white line is Pastor John, and he is 74, so he's 10 years older than me, and 51 years. He started in the same county teaching high school history, and he does the Christian Fellowship. Christian, what is it? FFA. Yeah, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And he also has a Bible club at the high school. And when a new history teacher came in and he was interested in taking over, he says, it's time for me to retire. 51 years. And but then 37 years at First Baptist McConnell, and his son now pastors there. They had a pastor between him and his son, but he didn't stay about a year or so. And he has just given the history, shared with us about, and you can see straight back, you see the steeple, that's the new church down the road. And just amazing how God worked miracle after miracle after miracle, getting that done. Now, their baptistry, I don't know if we'll be able to see. I'll talk about when we get to the picture. So next. And he talked and he talked. You could tell he was a preacher. And and you can see me, my hips hurting because I'm holding it. And he has to use his hands to talk. So he's definitely a preacher. So I got scared a couple times he was going to get run over. He was so close to the road. And you know, the roads in West Virginia are not as wide as they are here. And so people do not necessarily pay attention to the white line being the edge. You know, sometimes they go a little over. So, so we got there at 7 and about 8 o'clock. Now this is inside the building, and this is the top floor. There's 2 floors, a full-size basement and a top floor. And so they made it so that trucks could come in with the heavy box of stuff downstairs. They bring them in. And this is where the baptistry was. So they took the baptistry out, cut this hole in the floor, and then put this elevator in. $15,000 that somebody wrote a check for too. So yeah. Excuse me? So,
You're not throwing the boxes?
oh yes.
The whole into the fire.
Right. Yeah. So, and this is just to the left of where that elevator was. This is where when the boxes got packed, they were stacked up. And Ben had one job, to stack them and tell us when we got to 200. I'm not sure. I think, but if it may have been a few over 200. So, yeah. So, and we just show you a few pictures here. There were some carts that you could put, some you could put 3 on boxes and some 4. And the first time they started taking 1 around, I said, no. Let's do this a little faster. Well, Noah, you know, there's 3 carts. And so he said, well, I'll just take a box. And him and Aaron, the grandson, would just take a box around. And Aaron was enjoying Noah taking it around. So I said, hey, Aaron, why don't you pick up the box next time? And so yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these humongous built sheds. They are heavy duty, built by 2x4s, 2x6s, and plywood. And then they have braces going across so they won't fall over one way or the other. They had a team come in and provide the materials for that, and then built them. And okay. So over each, they would have like green beans in one section, and corn in one section, and meats, canned meats in one section, cereals and things like that. So there would be a sign over it, how many things to pick up in each area. So they would just walk around and count it. And they had to turn the cans on the side because the box would hold more with the cans turned on the side. Only had to tell them 40 times and show them. But anyway, so yeah, what was bad was it was hard getting them strung out so that they were not bunched up on each other. And so right.
Actually, he was just pushing the cart around while all of us did all the heavy lifting.
Somebody had to push the cart on, so you could hear it.
Right. He did.
Good skill.
So some of them started going to the other end and coming this way, which became Atlanta, is what that became. So, so as I got started, it was like, but by the time the last 50 or so, they were just, they would see something because the process, there's a lot to the process. They had to get the banana boxes, take the lid off the banana box. They had to take the bottom, put a piece of cardboard in because there's a hole in the bottom so things wouldn't fall out. The tops then had to be taken up to the front where Ben was so that they could put it on there when they were finished. And so that was a process back there. Colby was back there doing that. Dana, yeah, he was a one-man operation back there. And so anyway, we did all two. It took about 2 hours to do that. Yeah. Well, y'all took breaks. They took breaks. Yeah. Yeah, brother John came back. Pastor John came back, and even though they had already ate biscuits, Miss Deb had got up and cooked biscuits, had biscuits for them. They acted like they had never ate breakfast that morning, and ate more sausage and egg biscuits. So, yeah. So then Joshua got back there, and that's about 100 there at that point. So, and then everybody's telling Ben how to do it.
The grandson is supposed to work.
Yeah, the grandson. Yeah. And now you see Thomas holding the cart in place.
I'm sure.
And look who's holding the box. That's Trace. Yes. Humility. When you're not humble, you'll be humiliated. Oh, so okay. And this is Kobe in the back there, all by himself, doing all that preparation work. We took the boxes. They used banana boxes. The Kroger they give their banana boxes, which is a perfect box size, every week. So they have to go pick those up and bring them, and then they distribute once a month. And the people come and register. They have 400 people on their roll, and they call them all the week before, saying, "Okay, next whatever day it's going to be on," and they come in and sign in, and then because the parking down at the food pantry is very sparse, they'll let 2 or 3 come down at a time. And but what a wonderful way to reach out to 200 families every month. And so everybody got it. But we took the other boxes and cut the little part that went down in the box. And so everybody had a job to do. And by the end, everybody was, if they saw something was needed, shifted to it. So, and this has been getting a load of lids. It does look like that, yes. And it's very possible that's what it is. It's a good thing he's cute, right? It's a good thing he's cute. And those boxes were significantly pretty heavy if you all the cans and things by the end. So, and that's closer to the 200 mark. Yeah, we're getting there. When we got 200, this side was also on the table, was filled up. Yeah. Now, this is downstairs in the basement, and this is where their fellowship hall used to be, and we did the vacation Bible school classes down there also, a lot of them. And so they tore all that out, and they received a grant to buy, pretty much buy these freezers. They had, this side had freezers. They had 3 commercial freezers. Then they had some chest freezers. And then on this side, they had some refrigerators, commercial refrigerators. And you see all these cans here. An organization was offering grants because they were an official food pantry. The food bank was offering, somehow they had money earmarked or whatever. And so they were given $22,000 to buy food with. And so at Christmas, they do a real big box they give out to far more than 200. And so he went ahead and used that money to buy the groceries for the Christmas going. So this is it's its own organization. It's associated with Stryker Church, but it's own identity and 401k and all that. And so all this money is given to them to buy the food. Volunteers come in and pack. The senior adults were happy that we were there that week, because that meant on Friday they didn't have to come in and do the 200 boxes. And so they thanked us. And so And there's a big door there, double door. There, one more picture. I think there's it gives you a picture across the back side of it. Yeah, I forgot what they named this. Y'all remember what the name was? But it's a forklift, and notice how high the ceiling is there. And then there is a place where the register or the vents or the air conditioning tubing, whatever, and you can see it had been knocked a few times. So they're able to pick up a pallet, put it onto the elevator, and it goes upstairs, and then they distribute it. When we first got there, we had those 5 loads of canned goods, and he had us sort them and put them in place. And so that takes time also. So a lot of organization. They do. He does have a person who is the secretary or the administrative person there. That's they go online and order stuff from the food bank. I think they go once a week. They have a truck, a little box truck that they go and pick that up with and bring it back. And those are the refrigerators. They had a lot of meat in. Kroger gives them when the meat goes out of date, they give them the meat. So once it's frozen, it can be kept longer. So probably not the meat there. Probably got that wrong. But anyway, able to keep a lot of food. This is Brother John Pastor John giving some help and directions. Another thing that had to be done is that, there was a nut section, and that's not for people. And they had walnuts, nice bag of walnuts, almonds, and pistachios. And they got 2 bags of 2 different kinds. And so somebody was always having to go and get a box and open them up so that they could keep going. Now, this place was full. I mean, it looked stuffed when we started. And I said, I don't think we'll make a dent on this, but it's amazing how 200 boxes deleted. Over half of it was gone after we got through. So, yeah. So they partnered her up. See, I told them to lay it on the side. And what did they do? Stacked it. Yeah. They didn't believe me till I had to show them that it holds more. So, and you see the banana boxes back on the back. That's for the next time. They have banana boxes everywhere. So, yeah. And that's Trace waving, saying, "Hey," and the grandson. Yeah. He doesn't. Huh? Here's Alexis. She didn't mind telling people that she was on the state championship team, played basketball. Yes. And there's my grandson with the grandson. He's going to wonder about that one. He comes back, y'all say, the grandson. And that's putting in the bottom for a box there. And Thomas watching again. Sure. Okay, Thomas. Dana took a lot of pictures here. But there was, I was trying to think of the different, there was pasta put in there. There was cereal put in there, the nuts, oil, a bottle of oil, yes. Let's see, cake mix. Yes, because when they got through, it was pretty full. Pretty full, so. And there's one of the carts you can see. Yeah, I just. Yeah, that's right. Yes, Ben's inspecting it, and he would put the lid on and then stack it and count it. That was very complex for Ben. So. Ben goes to a 4A high school, and he's going to be the starting center. The quarterback has signed with FSU. So, yeah. Several of the guys were helpful, especially the tall ones like Trace and but Joshua was able to get those top ones real easy. So really, yeah, it
I wasn't eating nothing. I was talking.
it truly. It changed. She was telling a secret too. She didn't want nobody to see. Yeah. This place, it truly had been thought out and organized. Apparently, they asked a lot of questions. Now that this roller here, we didn't ever use it. So we did put some lids on it one time, so that because we had more lids than didn't have enough space. Yeah. That's because the other grandson was pulling it, and there's Thomas just standing there looking. And,
They say the seniors do this on a normal basis.
Once a month, normal. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes. So when they got through, you'd have a lot of boxes, and so we broke all the EPA rules. Because we were told to by the guy who was in charge to burn the boxes. So, and this is behind the church. This is actually where we did the recreation at. It wasn't gravel at that point. It was still grass. But the truck can come in. They got it where they can. It used to be you couldn't drive down there, but they bulldoze it so you can drive down and then drive out, so the truck doesn't have to back around. So. Yeah, we had to watch them watch the fire. So. Yeah, he was in charge. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Oh, there was a big discussion, because the wind was blowing. He says we might catch the grass on fire, and so behind that you see the ditch. That's a creek, okay, and it's green, right, and it's been raining. I kind of go, guys, yeah. So, yeah. Oh. He's been playing with fire since he was 2. So we went back home, ate, did a few things, and got cleaned up and came back. We came back and they had pizza for us and some what they call they look like Hot Pockets, but it looked like a calzone, but it's smaller. And you take bread, and originally it was put pepperoni in there with and wrap it up, and they would take it to work in tinfoil, and then they would put it on their machines, and it would warm them up, and they would eat them down in the mines. And it's a West Virginia food that's to that area. They were good, and you can put different meats in there or whatever, kind of like pizza wrapped up. So this is the van that not that old. The driver comes and drives every week. He has had cancer. He's got stuff going on with his lungs like many do up that way because of black lung and other lung diseases because of being in the mines. And his wife had just started chemotherapy for her cancer. And but they still smiled and greeted people. And that's a 15-passenger van, nice tall back seats there. Just a mere $65,000. So just that's, and I can't remember this guy's name, so, but okay, Bob, that may be his name. So when we got there at 6 o'clock, there was already kids coming, and then when the van got there, they had a big crowd, kind of like we have, probably have more kids than we have on Wednesday. And they hadn't quite built up their youth yet, but that's coming. And so Brother John asked them to lead them in some songs. Well, I just want to tell you the songs that we sing with the kids and the songs they sing with kids are 2 generations apart. Okay. Yeah. Well, brother, you can tell Brother John's from a different era, and nothing wrong with that. The songs are great. They still have great meaning, but This Little Light of Mine, Do Lord, Do Lord.
Do they do Bible school there still now?
This coming week, they're doing Vacation Bible School. Yes. Yes, right. Starts today. Yeah. So Alexis and TK went up there and did a good job. Sure did. I can't tell if Alexis is hiding TK or she's over. Yeah. The Smurf. Smurfette in her pink.
No, it was not. Some kid was telling me to take off my boot and my stand on because he was probably short. And he proved me right. He proved me right.
Yeah. And on Wednesday night, they probably had, besides the kids, they probably had 60 plus adults there. So, a lot of kids they love. It was no time before Alexis had kids hugging her and wanting hugs from her. And just want you to know, Brother John sings, but he can't sing. It's just this is the back of the church. And that's the group that he wanted a picture. So this was our group picture for the week. I preached that night. Good group to preach to, almost as good as y'all. Some amens. Yeah. And they don't mind that I preach an hour either. At least they didn't tell me that. I didn't say. Let's see. Oh, it's you sing. Okay, I got you.
The lyrics and the music were way off. Like they were playing like 2 separate like. So the lyrics were way ahead of the actual music.
Yeah. And she was trying, there's no monitor out there for them to read, so she was having to look back. The sound was not good. But I give this to Alexis. She sang every word. And since the people didn't know what the music was supposed to sound like, they didn't know. They all clapped and yeah. So, yeah. She got up there. Oh, so let me go back one more because we're figuring. Yeah. So TK got up there and she missed coming in. She tried to come in a couple of different places and 4 minutes of this, it's a 4-minute song or whatever. She was like 3 minutes standing there looking. And, it was so, and so everybody felt bad for her. And so when I got up there, I said, this reminds me of the story about a young preacher was preaching for the first time. And he was all excited. And, he was proud he was going to get to preach or whatever. And he got up there and he come to deliver, and nothing would come out. And he backed up, he flipped through his Bible again, he comes, and just nothing would come out. And he stood there for a few minutes, bowed his head, and then he came down. And the old wise pastor said, "Son, if you had went up there like you came down, you would have come down like you went up." And but before that, and then I told us, before that, I actually told the story. So this reminds me of the story where Jesus had sent his disciples out in the Sea of Galilee, and the storm came. It was rough and tough, and then he came walking on the water. And Peter, God sticks his foot in his mouth, says, "Lord, is that you?" And he says, "Yes, it is I." He says, "If it's you, invite me to come out there, and I will walk out there to you." And he said, "Come on." And so Peter stepped out and walked out there, and then he saw the winds and the waves or whatever, and had that moment of doubt or whatever, and he sinked, and he had to cry out, "Save me!" And Jesus came and pulled him up. He said, we always bash Peter for his oh little faith. There was a whole lot more than the rest of the disciples, because he at least got out of the boat. And so I told Kike, at least you got out of the boat. You got out of the boat. But I was real pleased that by the next night, when we had our ending gathering, she admitted that she had been prideful and boasting, and she was doing it for herself, and she was wrong. So.
But also we were like shredding paper at the same time. I was trying to practice it, and I was like, this paper shredder. I was so agitated with that paper shredder. I spent a good 45 hours shredding paper.
Yeah. I tell our deacons, you always have a sermon ready anytime. Drop a hat, be ready to go. So y'all always be ready. Always be ready. All right. So this actually started on Tuesday, but I wanted to put them all together. We finished up late Thursday evening, and that's after it's been scraped. That's the room we were in last year. Big old flakes. I'm sure it was lead paint. Michelle, Jason's wife, asked, he said, was there asbestos? I said, no asbestos. That building is too old to have asbestos. But anyway, you can see how it looked. That was a spot where you can see in the center where the cement had fallen off, and beautiful colors there. Yes, yeah. Corners. This is, you can see where he's already done some cement there, pasting. Plastering. Yeah. Sketchy. Wobbly. Yeah. Sketchy. Wobbly. Unstable. You fell off of it? Who fell off of it? Colby? No, those are very light beds for sure. They're made out of iron. So, and everybody, as they were finishing up the different projects, they would come in and do it. Kendall got into it, and so did TK, cutting it in, and so did one of my grandsons. I don't know if the grandson did or not, but. Yeah, there's the grandson there. Yeah. So. And so after scraping and sanding, there's a little dust on the bed there. So you see from daylight to dark, and that's what the wall looked like after the green painting. So, yeah, one could. Those chalkboards need to be repainted with chalkboard paint or something. I tell you that, or taken down or something. But anyway,
I don't know if it's how to, what possible one of the streets that Joe Gordon did.
nothing wrong with it. We couldn't play the game that we had in our room last year. Remember the hole in the wall? Somebody stepped on the ping pong ball. So, this is also Thursday evening about 4 o'clock. I only took pictures of them serving from the line. All of them were involved in that. And so imagine on the other side, some of you know what size room it was with 60 plus people in there.
Do you think it's more people there now?
That and more people are here, know about it. But yes, homeless is more. There's more homeless too. So yeah.
One person who served had a bearded dragon. His name was Cheetah, and the person's name was Ron.
And how do you know this?
Because they said how they talked to him.
Very good, very good. That takes some courage to sit down and talk to somebody you don't know, especially homeless, and look a little sketchy.
And I felt that I was done serving and everything was very cleaned up, and it was the last one, and they're sitting there eating. I was like, you got somebody to talk to me, and he gives that side of the call.
Yeah. By the way, here's a tip. If you want to look for something to get a conversation started and the person has tattoos, just ask. I have found there's a reason for every tat. There's a reason for every tat. Unless they were drunk and don't remember, but there's a reason. And they love, you know, one, they're glad you recognize the tattoo, and then they love to tell you the symbolism behind it. And so when they tell you, so, okay, that's great, because I was kind of thinking, you know, you'll always find something like a heart or a cross or whatever, and you can bring the gospel message right into it and talk to them about that. So I shared with them a story, and I've shared it here, I know once or twice, about the night that I went out on visitation at the church. We visited 4 people. Nobody was at home, and we came back, and usually we went to this restaurant called Famous Amos, and we'd eat pie and coffee and fellowship. But on the way back to the church, I felt the Spirit of God say, go home, go home. I said, okay. So when we got there, my partner said, you want to go to Famous Amos, get some coffee and pie? And I said, no, I think I'm going to go home. So I went home. When I got there, my wife, Wanda, was standing at the door, and there's this young man, 18 at the most, standing there, and I'm going, okay, Lord, I'm trying to figure out what you're up to. And so I come in. He said he wanted to just talk to me about an educational system. An educational system translated, I want to sell you some encyclopedias. This is back before the internet, okay? And so I came in, and Richard was his name, and he took about 30 minutes to tell me about these fine educational system thing here, and went through it all and how it was going to stay up to date, because they were going to send a new book every year that had all the new updates and all that, and how that kids that wouldn't have to worry about if they don't get the book from the library and all. So he got to the end of his presentation. He says, so Mr. Howell, do you have any questions? And I said, yeah, I have one. And he says, well, what is it? And I said, if you died tonight, would you go to heaven or hell? And he says, well, Mr. Howell, he says, I would go to hell. I said, okay, so how would you like to know when you leave this place that you'd be going to heaven? He says, I would like that. I said, okay, so we showed him the plan of salvation, and there in our living room, instead of me buying a educational system, he gained eternal life. He prayed there and repented and asked Christ to come in his life and surrendered to him. He got up and he says, I knew, he says, I'm going home tonight. I'm going to call my parents tonight and I'm going home. He lived like in South Carolina, North Carolina. He says, I knew I shouldn't be out here doing this. And I haven't seen him since or heard from him since. I hope in heaven he'll walk up and say, hey. But the point was, I wonder what would happen to Richard if I had not listened to the Spirit say, go home. Go home. And it's talking about Philip in Acts, listening to the Spirit about going into the desert to the south. So that's another way. If you have a salesperson, they're going to give their pitch and they'll say, do you have any questions? Just say, you going to heaven or hell? Now they kind of feel awkward because they got to answer you. They're still hoping they might be able to close a sale. But anyway, so this is, I thought this was a wonderful experience for the kids to see. And they were talking about this later Thursday night to realize, even though there are things in Ponce de Leon that are bad, people that are way worse off than there. So there's the grandson and the grandson in the middle there. Okay, so this is on the trip back. We decided, because we had to not drop Noah off, and he lives in Jackson, Georgia, which is kind of southeast of Atlanta. We tried a route that the mileage is not much difference, 10 miles of the other route, but it doesn't have Knoxville, it doesn't have Chattanooga, and it doesn't have Atlanta in it. We came down, went through Asheville. It was a beautiful drive, and then went down to Greenville, South Carolina, and then came on down 85, and somewhere past Athens on 129, we came down to where he lives. The only time there was really any aggravation about this particular route was that I forgot on 129 and went down or whatever, there was like 20 four-way stops that we had to stop at going through that area. And speed limit was 45, but it was better than bumper to bumper for those 3 hours in those different cities. But it was a different drive, and might try it again just to see. So this is a grandson. This is in North Carolina on a lookout there. There wasn't much to look at though. So that's Kobe taking it all in. Trace, what are you doing there?
Say, I'm so hot. I'm so hot. I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
Now, we stopped for a break, and TK wanted to know where she could go to the bathroom. There was no bathroom there. So then we had to go on down the mountain and stop again. Go ahead. Yeah. Thomas, that's you? Yeah. We got everybody. Yeah. Now, this is we stopped at Wise Valley, and I have a picture of Wise Valley I put there several years ago, and I've got like 300,000 people have looked at it. I just, so. No, that was still in North Carolina. And this is grandson Noah's house. They'll say they live in McDonough, but they have a Jackson, Georgia address. And son-in-law is from Costa Rica. He's a naturalized citizen for several years. He's been working at Caterpillar, which is in Griffin. Takes him about 30 minutes, I guess, to drive over there, and been there for over 20 years now. So, yeah. So that's where 4 of my grandchildren live. And this is Emma, one of the twins. I don't know Mr. Owen. Mr. Owen comes running, Pa! And Ben scared her. It's like, this is my cousin. She ought to hug me. She don't know you. You hadn't seen her in a year and a half. She gave Pa a hug, though. But she was glad to see her brother, her oldest brother. Caitlin is the second child in this group, and she's taller than Noah. He's 3 years older than her. So, he's more like his father. She's more like her mother. So, yeah. And this was as we were coming by Lake Eufaula. Teresa got this picture, and it was about 8 o'clock at that point, I guess, something like that. So maybe a little earlier. So we had ate supper. Where did we eat supper at?
Del Taco.
Del Taco.
We went to I don't remember, I think it was Wendy's for breakfast or something, I don't know.
Yeah. What city? I can't even remember what city it was. So, yes. All right. I think that's it. If I remember correctly. So, questions or comments you'd like to share? So Dan's 70. And Deb is a little behind. I was telling David this morning that he was asking how the church, Gilbert Creek is about the same as it was a year ago. They are going down on Sunday afternoon, having a service at 4 or 5 o'clock, and staying sometimes till Monday, Tuesday, and then coming back Wednesday. And they go after church on Sunday. Bear is doing a lot of the preaching, bringing the messages on Sunday morning. Dan is bringing the messages on at Gilbert Creek on Sunday afternoon. And Deb was bragging about how good the apartment looked now that they've kind of got it all set up. And we initially were thinking about going down there for Sunday night and just have our service there. But we wouldn't had enough time to decorate and go down there and get back. So we didn't go. So, so there are a lot of things we got listed for some things to do. David told me, April, that you had mentioned about the the dungeon under the gym, doing some work in there. The secret showers.
They're called. The secret shower.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know. I knew there were showers down there, but I didn't know they were separated by shower curtains. Yes. Yes. And there's still some talk. Some guy says, "Oh no, I can bring such and such right up here and put it right up there." I said, whatever you do, get some insurance on it. So anyway, Dan had talked about just setting up the steeple on the corner there on the wall, kind of there, and that would be pretty neat too. Because if you know where the church is, and you come across there, you can look at it and you see it. They're also he's wanting to do a mural on the auxiliary part, so it would have a scripture or something saying on it, so it could be seen across town. So a lot of ideas, a lot of things to do. So, but with their deacon Carlos passing away the week before we got there, really the church was a little numb from that. The service was on Friday that we got there Friday night, and so they're down to about 5 members, and so they're talking. Dan is also the DOM, the area missionary, whatever, coordinator, whatever you want to call it, and for the Coalfield Association. And they've also been talking with the West Virginia State Southern Baptist Convention about turning it into a ministry center where people can come and not only get training, but then get experience in doing the ministry. Because they've got the street ministry and the, all the different ministries, so that they can then take those back to places and do it, see how it's organized and those type things. I even talked to him about having a men's conference, and we get Skins and Bubba and whatever to come up there. And, but the parking, 10 cars is about it up there on their parking lot. But Dan said that they had talked with the city and they could use the parking there, and we just shuttle people up and whatever. So anyway, different things. So just pray that God, the building is worth the piece of property, which is maybe a quarter of an acre, maybe a little more, maybe worth $1.5 million. That's how precious, especially in town, a flatter piece of land, especially with a building that size. So anyway, we'll see what happens as it comes. But I think Dan and Deb want to slow down just a little bit because they are that retirement age. They have a cabin over in Ohio that they go maybe once a month to. But Dan, from listening to Dan, he would like to get kind of settled down at Gilbert Creek, and I'd like that because that would show some consistency and that people are going to be there. So, yeah.
Were you able to see Carlos' son?
No, but I had found out that Dan had talked to him, and he gave him assurance that he was saved. So, but thanks. Yeah, I was praying, and Dan told me that on Sunday or Monday. So, but continue to pray for Lisa, his wife, and they said there was hundreds and hundreds of people that Carlos had life touched. Said he was a real bad character when he was young. He kind of like our Don. Where is Don? Did he go up north? He went up north? Okay. All right. Got to get everything sorted. Oh, there comes the piggy bank. Don don't get irritated. Okay. I'm sure there's logic somewhere there. So, other comments or thoughts or questions? A lot of people said they're looking forward to a trip next year. So we didn't pencil in a date there, but we'll be more active about that this year. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for being patient to look at our slideshow. And thank you for praying for us, supporting us. And we also, Florida has a partnership with the South, I think it's called Southwest Ohio. It's not any closer than West Virginia, but that's who we've partnered with. It's a section, it says a lot like the Panhandle. I said, well, why don't they come here? And, but because it's in the Rust Belt, they've had some economic bad times too. And they're going to have some people come down this fall, and we'll meet with them and see what, there may be some building projects, things like that, that we may be interested in. So we'll see. And there's a possibility, of some going to Peru in the next year. So Has anybody been since we've been? Nobody's been. Wow. So now David is talking to Pastor Francisco, and he speaks into it and then translates it to Spanish or
Translate,
four. Okay.
you have it translated for him when it comes from his end and when it comes from mine.
Wow.
It's in English,
So we're able to communicate with them a lot. So, all right. Well, again, thank y'all for coming. See y'all Wednesday. Most of you, if you're a youth, you can come to the adult Bible study. It'll be fine. I think we're going to look at the life of David. The life of David on Wednesday nights. All right. Well, let's be dismissed in prayer. Anybody want to volunteer? All right. Trace, go ahead. Amen.